Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, seeing partly cloudy conditions out there and once again seeing breezy and cold conditions this morning and expecting that to continue through much of the remainder of the week. Currently seeing temperature around 30 degrees and winds are peaking above that 25 knot threshold. We have just issued a wind advisory, so we do expect to maintain that wind advisory through much, if not all, of the working hours today. Take a look at the current surface analysis. We have a strong area of high pressure off the New England coast that's keeping this tighter pressure gradient over the local region between that and this high pressure off to the west. That's going to keep those breezy conditions continuing as we move through today as well as into tomorrow. Eventually this high pressure will build over the region briefly on Friday. That will help to relax those winds a bit before our next weather maker moves into the area for Saturday. Take a look at the upper level winds from this morning. Sounding had some northwesterly winds closer to the surface, and as we go up through the lowest 25,000 feet, seeing those winds become more westerly in those higher levels. And our peak wind today was 99 knots at 25,000 feet, and the freezing level was at the surface this morning. Looking at the current visible satellite, just looking at mainly some upper mid and high level clouds and streaming through the area. A few low level clouds with the winds blowing across the water locally here, but also seeing plenty of snow cover still across the peninsula and expecting that sky picture to pretty much remain the same as we move through much of the day today. If we look at the European model here, see what we can expect over the next several days. As mentioned, that tight pressure gradient continues over the local area as we move through today as well as into tomorrow. Not expecting any precipitation through the next 48 to 72 hours, maybe a light flurry this evening, but that doesn't look too likely at this time and not very impactful. As mentioned, as that high pressure starts to build over the local area on Friday, we'll start to see those winds relax a bit. Thickness values rise a little bit, so a couple degrees warmer, but still on the cold side and well below average for this time of year, and dry conditions will prevail as we move through the remainder of our work week. Getting into the weekend, we start to see that coastal low coming together over the southeast states, and that will track along the coast and just off the coast, bringing what looks to be snow chances into the area as we go into Friday evening. Pretty good agreement with the modeling here as far as timing and location. Some slight variations in accumulation totals, but at this time, looks like we'll see mostly an all-snow event with this tracking by the local area, bringing up to a couple inches of snow over the local area, and we should see that start to wrap up as we get into the afternoon hours of Saturday with some slightly breezy conditions as that low moves off the coast. And then going into Sunday, we'll see high pressure building in over the area that's going to keep the winds on the lighter side, and we'll see slightly milder temperatures on Sunday into Monday, but still slightly below average for this time of year. And then as we go into the middle of next week, looks like those thickness values lower again, bringing in well below average temperatures and some breezy conditions possibly as this pressure gradient starts to tighten up again through the midweek. So looking at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, main concern through the day today will be those elevated winds. We are currently in that wind advisory and expecting that to likely remain the case as we move through the day today. We'll see our high temperature around 33 degrees and those winds peaking around 28 knots as we move through the afternoon. We'll see those wind chill values in the teens to possibly the lower 20s as we move through the day today. We'll see that cloudiness continue around the area, mainly around 18,000 feet, and we could see a ceiling develop around 3,500 feet with some of that low-level cloudiness moving in, particularly later in the day today. And then we'll see those clouds breaking as we go through the overnight and into the early morning hours of Thursday. We'll see a brief weakening in some of those peak winds as we move through the later evening this evening before we'll see those winds picking back up once again, starting the day off out of the northwest, 13 to 18 knots, gusting up to 30 knots for our Thursday. We'll see our low temperature around 19 degrees, so that will put us with those wind chill values down into single digits once again. So with the winds, as you can see, we drop down to a yellow risk during that late evening time frame, and then we start to increase that risk once again, looking at a red risk for that wind advisory criteria as we get into the start of the day on Thursday. Additionally, we'll see an orange risk for those wind chill values below 10 degrees as we move past the 20 local time frame, and then up to an orange risk at that coldest point of the morning, early Thursday morning. Tides running slightly below normal. Similar conditions as we move into Thursday, just a degree or two cooler with breezy and cold conditions. Also seeing slightly breezier conditions, so looking at a red risk for those winds once again at or above 25 knots, likely seeing a wind advisory through the day for Thursday. Otherwise, mostly sunny, and we'll see mostly clear evening Thursday evening. Once again, cold and breezy, particularly breezy during the first part of the evening, so we do keep a yellow risk for those winds at or above 25 knots continuing, and then we should see those winds weakening as we get into the start of the day on Friday. Once again, cold with a low of 20 degrees. Slightly milder for Friday with a high of 36 degrees, so we'll actually get above freezing, it looks at this time for Friday. Otherwise, partly cloudy conditions. We'll see slightly breezy early on, but should stay below that wind advisory criteria, so looking at green conditions for our weather risk, and we'll see those slightly breezy winds tapering down as we move through the area and that high pressure builds over. And we'll see those increasing clouds as we get later in the day as well, ahead of that next system moving into the region. Looking at the extended forecast here, looking at about an 80% chance of seeing that snow moving into the area. Again, looks to be at or just after midnight Friday night and continuing through the morning hours of Saturday. Again, right now it looks like we could see up to a couple of inches across the local area, and then that should start to wrap up as we get into the PM time frame, just afternoon, and then we'll see clearing skies as we go into Saturday evening, and we'll see some slightly breezy conditions through the day. Do have a chance of some maybe rain mixing in, mainly during the later morning time frame with that, as we get some slightly warmer temperatures, expecting a high around 37 degrees for Saturday, as well as for Sunday, with more in the way of sun for Sunday, and we'll see our low temperature around 24 degrees. And then as we get into the beginning of next week, again, continue with slightly milder temperatures, a high of 40 degrees expected for Monday with partly cloudy conditions, no precipitation expected. And then that pressure gradient starts to tighten. We start to see some slightly cooler air with a high of 37 for Tuesday, and those breezy conditions starting to move into the area. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 to 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.